This is the subject that we all wish we had learned as kids, but we can now pass the info along to our own children. I am joined by Brian Jack from First Community Bank to talk about the importance of teaching financial literacy to the next generation in this sponsored interview. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, I need these tips. We've already been deep diving. I have had so many questions for you. So I didn't realize that Utah is one of only 10 states that now has this as a requirement in school.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Where was this 15, 20 years ago when we were there? It's fantastic where it's a semester course that they have to take and pass in order for them to be able to graduate. And Utah was the first state in the U.S. to implement it with the graduating class of 2008 being the first ones to graduate with that requirement.
That's really impressive. So at least kids growing up now do get that here in our state. But at home, that plays a big part, how we are modeling our finances, how we're talking. And one way we can do that, maybe there's a vacation planned. And how should we get our kids involved to talk finances for that experience?
Absolutely. So a few years ago, this idea came to my wife and I, where we thought, hey, you know what, let's continue to teach our kids how to budget and plan, but yet have some fun still. So during a staycation one year, we sat them down and said, okay, kids, here's our budget. We can spend X amount of dollars. What do you want to do? And we walked through the entire process with them, all the way from generating ideas to figuring out how much they cost to actually scheduling when we were going to do those events. And it was an absolute blast. And
then they still have control. They're choosing the fun that they want to have, but understanding how to kind of manage that.
Absolutely.
You say also take control of their own finances. Maybe they have an allowance.
Exactly. And there's so many different ways. You know, if you're in a position to where you can actually pay for the allowance and provide them money, there are lots of apps and other different ways through your financial institution to help allocate those funds. But also, if you're not in a position to do that, there are lots of other options as well. As opposed to using money, one other option is to use points. So we always have a pizza movie night at my house Friday nights. And when our kids were younger and we used this point system, we allowed them the opportunity to purchase the option to choose the movie that we would watch. So there's lots of different ways that we can help teach the principles to our children.
That's such a good idea. I've never thought of that. They still learn that system, but just with points.
Absolutely.
If you want to save some cash. Okay, this is a big one. Having actual cash versus a credit card. It's hard for them to have a concept of it when we're just swiping a card or using Venmo.
Absolutely. So it's really important, you know, in the day in which we live, it's important for them to understand the digital side. But if anybody's like me, I need to feel it, touch it, and experience it for me to really learn the principles and concepts. So whether that's using the envelope method, where you get a certain amount of allowance each week or each month, and you have your, hey, here's my fun, here's my savings, here's my way to give back type of envelope, to be able to teach them those opportunities.
There was something satisfying about that.
Absolutely.
I still remember learning that when I was little in my family and feeling like I was really accomplishing something to have that envelope in my hands. What about building in a savings?
Absolutely.
Saving that money too.
Yes, that's so important. You know, one thing that we recommend is, you know, take your income, live off of 80% of that, and save 15 to 20%.
Yeah. Good advice. And also make it fun. Help them understand how to responsibly manage the finances, but that it's not a chore.
Exactly. There are so many times where finances can be something that enables us to accomplish something, but only if we manage our finances and not have our finances manage us. It's an important concept to understand and to do.
Yes, wise words. Good stuff today. Thank you so much.